everyone, it's Julie from Aegis Exercise, and today we are going to do a chair yoga class. And as a special treat, I have my daughter Elizabeth that will be joining us. To get started, you'll need a chair. It can have arms or it can be armless. I'd like you to sit in the center of it and then separate your feet about shoulder width apart. Notice that Elizabeth and I don't have shoes on today, but you certainly can wear yours if you're more comfortable. We're going to begin by our breathing. So we're going to inhale in and exhale out. And that may seem like just a silly thing to remind you to do, but we want to make sure those breaths are super long for yoga and our exhales are good and long as well. We're going to try to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And if that's difficult for you, then I want you to breathe whichever way is comfortable for you to breathe. We're going to turn our palms up. And that just is going to allow our body to be in tune for our posture, rolling our shoulders up, back, and down. And before we begin, I want you to remember to go at your own pace, to listen to your body, and to note that you have options. We're going to continue to breathe as we let our hands drop from our legs, as we focus inward on our body. We just scan our body from top to toe, and we see how it's doing today. See if there's some areas that may be tight, areas that may be stressed or tense, and I hope that our practice today will help to relieve some of that. Let's inhale and bring our arms up overhead, and then let's exhale, turning the palms out, bringing that down. We'll go through that 2 more times. Notice how we're syncing our breath, maintaining our posture, pushing our sitting bones into the chair, drawing upward with the chest. And we've got 1 more. And exhale that out. Now we're going to let just the right hand come up. And the left hand is just going to hang right next to the leg, or you can place it on the arm of the chair like Elizabeth has. Reaching up a little bit higher with that right hand, we're going to now let that hand come over the head. Notice how our bodies are tilting to the side. This gives us a great stretch from the elbow all the way down to the hip. We're going to come back up. Let the lower hand come to the upper hand, stretching tall. We'll now let the opposite hand go down. Reaching up with the left hand, we'll do the same thing here. We'll either prop that hand on the arm of the chair or we'll let it hang to the side. And we'll let that upper hand hang over for just a nice opening stretch there. And up nice and tall. Lower hand comes to the upper hand. We'll bring both hands down together. We'll let them relax to the side. And this is our seated mountain right here, where we feel strong on the inside. We feel relaxed on the outside. Deep breath in, both arms coming up. We're going to turn those palms outward. We're going to go into our first fold. So our hands are going to come down to our legs. And we're just going to allow the body to shift forward ever so slightly. As you do that, I want you to gaze down at the floor in front of you. So we have a nice neutral neck with our spine. Coming back up from there, we'll bring the arms shoulder height, and then we'll open them out. And I want you to slip the right hand behind and the left hand behind. And you can either bring them to the arm of the chair like Elizabeth is doing, or place them on the seat of your chair like I'm doing. Now we're going to lean back and put some weight into those arms to help to balance our torso. We lift our chin ever so slightly, and our gaze now is at the ceiling as we draw our abdomen in. We let that breath process. Deep breath in and exhale that out. Coming up from our back bend, let's remove our hands from behind us, place them in the front before we go into our seated mountain. And on your next inhale, lower those hands down, open them out. Inhale in, exhale out. Let's go back to our crescent moon. Deep breath in, arms up. Right hand down, left hand stays up. Let's lean over into that crescent moon. This time, let's hold it here for 1 full cycle of breaths. And just allow that breath to make its journey from the fingertips all the way down to the hip. Up nice and tall, lower hand comes to the upper hand. Here I invite you to cast your gaze up to those hands and just lengthen through that upper body a little bit more thorough. Neutralize the head, lower the opposite hand, and we come into our crescent moon on this side. Deep breath in. We never want to hold the breath through the poses. And we're up nice and tall. We take that lower hand, we bring it to the upper hand. Let's turn those palms out again. Let's come back down into our forward fold. So as we glide forward, Elizabeth is going to keep her hands right on top of those legs. As an option, you can come to your elbows, like I'll do, keeping the back nice and long. So by taking the option of the elbows, notice that your torso drops a little bit further. Make sure that the lower back is okay with that. Deep breath in. I'm going to come back up to my hands like Elizabeth, and then we're going to push our body up nice and tall. Let's bring those arms back out front. Open them nice and wide, sliding your hands one at a time to the place that's going to work best for you for your second back bend. So comfortably placing those hands on the arm of the chair or on the seat of the chair, we look up, casting that gaze forward. Second time we do these poses, our body is aware of what we're trying to accomplish. So some really wonderful things happen. Flow of circulation, warmth of the body. Let's come back to neutral. Let's bring the hands one at a time. And we're going to go into some torso circles, one of my favorite poses in yoga. We're going to come forward just ever so slightly. We begin our circles to the right. So we're going to circle the body around, coming back, coming side, coming forward. This creates a movement through the body that normally our body does not achieve throughout our day, throughout our functioning movements that we create. Let's do that one more time. And remember, when we're breathing through these, and then let's come back to the front. Now, after the front, go ahead and sit up for a second. Check in with your body. Deep breath in. Come back to that slight tilt forward. And this time, our circles are going to go to the left. So we're bringing that around. And we're just exaggerating a little bit to make sure that we're getting the most out of that 360-degree movement. 2 more circles. And then we have our last circle right there. So we've got that core all ready to go for our next pose, which is going to be our side rotation pose. So we're going to take both hands and place them on our right leg. We're going to let the fingertips hang over. Now with our chest forward, we're just going to turn our head and look over that shoulder to the side. Take a deep breath, bring that back. And let's turn that head once again. Now, if that caused any discomfort into the neck, I want you just to keep the head forward, and you can still do the side rotation in a neutral neck alignment. So now, as we go into a little more deeper pose, we turn the torso using the outside of that leg to push against. Now, as an option, you can follow Elizabeth by taking your right hand to the arm of the chair. That's going to open up her shoulders a little bit more, but still allow her to have something to balance with. You can also take and follow me, take your arm to the back of the chair. Now, as another option, you can turn your focus to the back, but you want to pay close attention how this feels through the neck and through the shoulders. Torso is nice and long, your abdomen is tight, and our shoulders are down. Let's remove the hand from the arm of the chair or from the back of the chair and place it back onto the thigh. We're going to come back into our center position, and let's go ahead and go into our seated mountain and just get any feedback from our body, any reflection that you see or that you note. Now let's bring both hands to the left leg, and let's do that same thing on the left side. So we're maintaining that frontward position. We're going to turn our head and look over our left shoulder this time while maintaining the position of the torso to the front of the body. And let's turn that back. And let's turn the head again, and this time we're going to hold that position. Elizabeth is going to draw her left arm up to the arm of the chair. I'm going to take my left arm and bring it to the back of the chair. We're feeling that opening up from shoulder to shoulder, and then as an added option, we can turn and look over our shoulder towards the back. Maintaining that height in the posture is really important. Using a lot of wonderful core muscles here, getting some good stretching too. Let's release the arm on the left side, bringing both hands to the front of the body, and let's open up the arms into our mountain pose. Deep breath in, exhale out. Let's put all those poses together. Drawing the arms up. We bring the right arm down. We go into our crescent moon on that right side, turning the palm in, either on the arm of the chair or hanging down at the side. We're gonna reach. Now the body's warm. It's become flexible, so we're really trying to enhance these poses. Up tall, lower hand comes to the upper hand. And let's take the opposite hand down. And let's go into our crescent on this side, making sure the body is as long as it is to the side. Nice inhale in, bring both hands up. Let's turn the palms outward and let's lower down to the thighs. We're going to come forward into our fold. As an option that I showed you last time, you could come to your elbows, which Elizabeth is going to take you on that option. And then I'm going to let my arms hang down and I'm going to take my chest all the way into my lap. We're going to turn our gaze, so that is going to be to the floor or under the chair. Taking in a nice deep breath here and exhale out, really enhancing that lower back flexibility. On the next inhale, take your hands to your thighs. Now we're going to come up just halfway and we're going to inhale good and strong here. Sometimes we can get lightheaded when we draw the head below the heart. And this breath is going to help everything recirculate and go right back into place. We'll push ourselves up all the way. We'll turn our palms out. Bring them up halfway. Take the right hand behind. Take the left hand behind or onto the arm of the chair. Let's come into our back bend, opening up the front of the body. This is a really important pose in yoga. It puts balance into the body in ways that we normally don't do throughout our day. It's that balance that helps to center everything, to keep everything flexible and working. Release through your back bend. Bring your arms one at a time to the front. And then let's slide both hands to the right leg. Let's go ahead and turn the head, turn the torso, and then either slip that right hand on the arm of the chair or slip it onto the back of the chair. Cast your gaze behind if you choose that option. Everything is tall and steady. You're using that left hand pressed against the outside of the right thigh as leverage and to help you maintain that height. Remove the hand to the right thigh. Remove everything and come back to center. Deep breath in. And both hands to the left. We'll go ahead and turn right into that side rotation. We'll pick up the left hand and we'll place it where it's comfortable for you to place it. We'll turn and look over that back shoulder if that's an option that worked for you before. Inhale in and exhale out. Let's remove that hand. Come back to center. Let's open back up and come into our seated mountain pose. Check in with that posture and roll those shoulders up, back, and down. To release some of that stress from the shoulders, let's shrug them up and bring them down and wiggle those fingers. Shrug them up and bring them down and wiggle those fingers. And just hold this mountain pose for a couple breaths. So our next series of poses that we have, I will be standing and Elizabeth will stay seated. So feel free to pick what you'd like, and if you do end up standing and you'd like to come back to your chair, that's always an option to have. So if you're standing, you're going to follow me. I'm going to come up and I'm going to come around to the side of my chair. And it doesn't matter if your chair has arms on it or is armless. We'll place both of our hands on our thighs. Elizabeth will do the same in her seated position, and we go into our cat-cow series. So make sure that you have that posture, you have that height, and the shoulders are back. Elizabeth will walk her hands towards the edge of her legs, and I'm going to take my hands to the chair seat. Now, if there's an arm on that chair, just take your hands right over that arm. Now, we start in a neutral spine, so that means our gaze is down at the floor or at the chair, and then we start with our cat. With our cat pose, we open our vertebrae by pulling our abdomen up, and we feel our body as it grows longer through the arms and through the legs. The chin is drawn in towards the chest. Excuse me. Now from here, we're going to come back into neutral, and then we're going to press the belly towards the chair or towards our thighs. We're going to look up and notice how Elizabeth has changed and placed her hands on the arm of the chair, giving her a little bit more leverage and height through the spine. Louder. Come back into neutral, and let's go back into that cat and cow, syncing our breath with it. So we arch up, inhale in, exhale, press that belly down and lift the chin up, pressing through the sitting bones. And inhale in, arch up into cat. Press down, lift the chin into cow. One more time with that. We're manipulating the spine. We're letting energy in through the vertebrae. A lot of wonderful things. And lifting that chin, our last cow, come back into our neutral position. So if you have arms on your chair, go ahead and walk those hands to the arms of the chair. If you don't, we're just going to come right up and then join us and come up nice and tall, whether you're seated or whether you're standing. I'm now going to come to the back of the chair, and we're going to go into some gliding work. I'm going to move my chair forward a little bit and over to the side. You can keep your chair where it is, and we're going to start in a straddle position. So we're going to step our feet nice and wide. So you can use your chair as a great point of reference to make sure that those feet are wider than the chair and that you're in a position that's really going to benefit our triangle pose, which is next. Check in with your posture. Zip that up with that height through the torso. Roll those shoulders up, back, and down to make sure that those shoulders in place and that they're not riding up towards your ears. So in our straddle position, we're going to turn our feet out. And we're going to turn our right leg out especially so that that is the direction in which we're going. Go ahead and extend your right arm so it's in the direction of that foot. Now we're just going to glide. So we're going to glide the torso, bending slightly, and come back. So as you stand, you're pretending that you're in between two panes of glass. As you're seated, you're going to feel that upper body nice and tall. The opposite hand can be on the leg or it can be on the chair. And we're going to hold this glide right here. The hand that is extended out, which is our right hand, is going to just slowly lower inside of that right thigh. Palm is facing out. So as you're in this pose, you're going to notice the lines that our body has created. The line through the leg, the line through the arm, the long line through the torso as you've tipped to the side. Now, as an option, you can take the left arm and extend it out. If you're standing, make sure that you have a good, steady ground balance. And if you're seated, just make sure that your body is comfortable in this position. We can also draw that up and create just a nice diagonal line from fingertip to fingertip. And here is where we experiment. We come a little bit lower, seeing if the body is okay with that. And we get a great flexion through the torso, through the abdominal area when we do this. And we're back up. And that arm comes out. Let's try that one more time. So place that hand on the thigh or on the arm of the chair. And then we'll extend the right arm out. We'll glide that. We'll lower that down. And then feel free to use that left hand to lift with or to hold on to. And then we'll slowly lower that down, keeping our gaze forward, breathing in, exhaling out. If you're standing, you're going to feel that long lengthening through the legs as well. Let's slowly rotate up. Our arms are going to come out nice and wide for just a nice reach side to side. And then slowly lower the arms down. That right foot that's been turned out is going to come back to center. And we're going to turn the left foot out and do the same thing on the left side. So once again, I invite you to hold on to that chair with your right hand this time, or place your right hand on your right thigh. Let's extend our left arm out and let's start with our gliding. So we glide in that left direction and then we come back into center. Notice the flexion that we're creating right there in the oblique area, and then we're up tall. Gliding out again, deep breath in, and bring that up. This time we're going to hold that glide. As you hold that glide, I want you to feel the power in that lower body, whether you're seated or you're standing. A lot of strength in those muscles. Slowly lower that hand with the palm facing out to the inside of that left leg. Deep breath in. Now we're going to lower that down a little bit, and you're going to feel that flexion in the torso intensify a bit. The opposite arm can come out, or you can leave it onto your thigh or onto the chair, and then it can come up. So you've got that nice angle from fingertip to fingertip, and you can see where it gets its name, triangle pose. Let's go ahead and bring that arm down. Rest it on your thigh or on the chair. Come back up. Let's do that one more time. Extend your left arm out. Glide into that left direction. Lower that hand to the inside of the thigh. Slowly lower the body. And then as an option, lift that arm up. Now as another option, you can look up at that hand. But I want to remind you that anytime we take our eyes off the horizon, our balance has to work a bit harder. So if your balance isn't quite ready for that, go ahead and turn your head right back into center. You're breathing throughout, inhaling in and exhaling out. Come on up. And let's bring the arms down. Let's turn that left foot so it's facing forward. Let's hold this into mountain. We're in a straddle mountain where our feet are nice and wide, our hands are down to the side. I'm going to finish the standing poses with our sun god, sun goddess pose. So I invite you to turn those feet out again. Reposition yourself on your chair if you're getting a little uncomfortable in that position. We're going to lower the body down. Now, if you're seated, you've already got those flexions that are necessary in the knee, in the hip, in the ankle. As we lower down into our standing position, our hands can be on the back of the chair for additional balance. We'll take the right hand out. We'll bring the left hand out. And if you need to hold on to that chair for this pose, go ahead and alternate the hand that you're holding on to so that you have that balance that's necessary. We're going to drop the elbows, creating flexion in those elbows. And then we're going to flex the hands by drawing the fingertips away and out and then curling the fingertips. So we've got work in each of our joints. This is a really good pose for discovery. It really allows us to see the areas that we may be a bit tight, we may be a bit tense in those joint areas. Take a deep breath in, bring those arms up nice and high, releasing that flexion of the knees, lower the hands down, and either holding on to the chair or just lifting those legs in, we come back into center position. So now I'm going to walk back around, coming back into our seated position. Let's bring our hands down and come back into mountain. Deep breath in. Exhale out. One more time, we'll run through our sun salutation with the poses that we did in our seated position. Arms up, nice and high. Right hand comes down with the palm turned in. We reach up with that left hand, and then we walk the right fingers down the side of our chair or onto the arm of the chair, and we lean over. Deep breath in, we're up tall, lower hand comes to the upper hand. Now, before we go into the crescent moon on the opposite side, I'd like to do a back bend with our arms overhead. So we're going to place those palms together if your body is comfortable, or you can separate them like Elizabeth will do, about 6 inches. Now we draw the arms up a little taller, and I want you to turn and cast your gaze up to those hands. And now I want you to draw the hands back ever so slightly out of that gaze's view. You're going to feel strong and long and tight through the front of the body. But it is our lower back that's the superstar here. It's the muscle that's holding us into this position. Let's bring the hands back into view. Let's bring the head back into center. Let's lower down into heart center here. Deep breath in, exhale out. Let's bring the arms back up. And this time it'll be our left hand that comes down for our crescent moon on the opposite side, walking that left hand down, or resting it on the arm of the chair. We come into that position. Great side stretch. Up tall, lower hand comes to the upper hand. We turn our palms out. Deep breath in, bring those hands down. Exhale and glide forward. We'll lower either to our elbows, or you can walk your hands all the way down those legs into a forward fold. Our gaze is underneath the chair. Deep breath in, exhale out. Now remember, we want to be careful when we come up. So we're going to take the hands back to the thighs, and we're going to lift the chest and the torso just halfway. So we've got that angle of the body. We're breathing in, we're exhaling out. That breath is just doing its job, making its way through our body, circulating, soothing, relaxing. And let's rise up all the way. Let's reach out in front and open those arms out. Slide the right hand behind you and the left hand behind you, or on the arm of the chair. We'll sit up nice and tall. Lift the chin. So sitting nice and tall, we make sure that we're still engaged through the abdomen, that our breaths are still long and strong. And we reach forward. We'll open the arms out, and then we'll slide one hand back at a time and go into our back bend with our hands on the arm of the chair or on the seat, putting your weight into the hands. We'll look up and just really open up the body with beautiful openness, allowing for that oxygen to come in, release stress, release tension. And we're up nice and tall. Let's slowly release the hands, bringing them back to the legs. We'll come back into mountain. Deep breath in, exhale out. So let's bring both hands back to our thighs, rest them right there. Check in with that posture that you started with. And we just have a couple more poses to finish with. So we're gonna let our right ear drop over to our right shoulder. We're releasing tension, releasing stress from the neck on the left side. So that's where I want your focus to be. Let's go ahead and let our left hand drop from the side of the chair. Let's take our right hand and gently place it on top. This is an option. If you're feeling that that stretch has really extended you, then you don't need to do this option of putting your hand on top. If you are choosing that option, then I want you to make sure you're not pushing or pulling or forcing. You're just letting that hand hang very loosely on top of the head. Deep breath in, exhale out, focusing in on that area of the shoulder. Let's release the hand first. Let's lift the head up second. Now, just to reset that, I want you to look over your right shoulder for just a different stretch. And then we'll look back to center. And we'll do the same thing on the left side. So our left ear will tilt over our left shoulder. We already have our right hand hanging, so we're going to allow it to stay right there. We'll bring our left hand up and place it gently on top of the head. Just reminding ourselves to be very gentle here, not forcing, not pushing. Deep breath in. Our focus now is the right side. We carry a lot of stress in our shoulders, and this is so wonderful about stretching through and getting rid of some of that. And we'll release the hand first. We'll bring the head up second, and then we're going to look over that shoulder. And come on back into center. Let's bring both of our hands on top of our leg, and let's turn our palms up. So I want you to relax here and just let the legs come a little further apart and a little further away from you. So just we have beautiful circulation flowing through the body. Our shoulders are up, back, and down, and we have not turned off those core muscles yet. So as we go into Savasana, if you have a cushioned chair and you want to sit back into that cushioned chair and relax and rest there, you go right ahead. But if your chair is hard, you may want to just stay up tall. Elizabeth and I are going to scoot all the way to the back of our chair, and we're going to let our legs come out. And we're gonna rest our hands just like you're doing if you're in your cushion chair. Let's connect our index finger to our thumb. Let's relax and let's draw our chin up ever so slightly. And what we're trying to do here is just create some nice open lines for that breath. I'd like you to close your eyes and just focus in on that breath, where it comes into the body and where it leaves the body. And that breath is a very powerful tool that we have.
You're approaching 30 minutes.
That breath can relax us in tense situations. It can draw our heart rate down when we are anxious, fearful. Now try to extend that breath a little bit further. So a normal breath is about 3 seconds. And we're going to just allow it to be 4 seconds, a little bit further, a little bit longer. That breath will seek, we'll find those areas that are tight, and that exhalation that you breathe out will soothe, will ease, and rejuvenate those areas in the body. Continue to close your eyes just a little bit longer, staying in touch with the body. Breathing in, exhaling out. One more nice strong breath in and exhale out. And then if your eyes are closed, I'd like you to open them up and be aware of your surroundings. Let's sit tall up again into our chair. Let's bring our legs in. Let's let our arms draw down on the side. Let's bring them up nice and high overhead. We'll bring the palms together. We'll come back to center. And we'll finish off our practice in that word that is 5,000 years old in that Sanskrit language that means all the good in you, bring out all the good in me. And we finish our practice with Namaste.
Namaste.
And we want to say how much we miss all of you. And we hope you're all doing well. And we'll see you next time. Bye.